Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The Trump administration is intensifying its migrant worker deportation raids, and in Minnesota, ICE agents are now brutalizing protesters. This is video of agents who handcuffed a pregnant woman, placed her on her stomach, and are putting their full body weight and knees on her.
Please let her go.
She's pregnant. She's pregnant.
Oh my God. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
If this is what agents are willing to do when they're being filmed, imagine how they act when nobody is watching. In this case, another camera angle shows an agent pressing his knee into the woman's back. The crowd of protesters become increasingly angry and start throwing snowballs at the agents. The agents then respond by firing pepper spray and dragging the pregnant woman on the ground.
meesha waxaa ka dhacay dagaal oo isu dhaxeeya ICE-ka iyo dadka kale. He's dragging! Yes, he's dragging! He's dragging!
Eyewitnesses say the pregnant woman did not resist and posed no threat. But because she exercised her constitutional free speech rights and said something the agents didn't like, they put her in the snow, put their weight on her, and dragged her along the ground, firing pepper spray when the crowd reacted with outrage. The Trump administration is defending the aggressive handling of the pregnant woman, claiming she rushed an ICE vehicle and tried to vandalize it. Witnesses deny that and say the woman was simply yelling at ICE agents. This clash in South Minneapolis happened just a few miles away from where George Floyd was killed by a city police officer kneeling on his neck. In other words, there are already strong feelings in Minneapolis about law enforcement using force on anyone. And now, the chief of police in Minneapolis, Brian O'Hara, is speaking out and criticizing the ICE raids.
The fear that people are experiencing is real. As our mayor has said, it's been sad to drive down Lake Street and to see so many of our businesses either closed or empty. It's hard to see the impact that this is having on everyone in our community. It's especially personal to me, having been raised a Catholic, to be in a Christian church this morning as we are approaching Christmas. And I cannot help but think of what is happening in our city today and how that echoes with how outsiders have been treated for thousands of years, how Mary and Joseph themselves were considered outsiders and forced to stay in a barn. That's what we're getting ready to commemorate as Christians around the world, while all of this fear is happening right here in our town. So my goal, and our goal as the Minneapolis police, is to try and do what we can to reduce fear, to reduce anxiety, and to try and help provide for public safety.
For all of the decent and good law enforcement agents like Chief O'Hara, there are, of course, idiotic tyrants and bullies, including high up in the Trump administration. Trump borders are Tom Homan, and yes, his name is literally Ho Man, allegedly took cash bribes during the Trump campaign. Now, in the White House, Ho Man is claiming the Trump crackdown on migrant workers has protected women across America.
96% less people are coming. How many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this country every day? How many known suspected terrorists aren't just walking across that border? President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month. Hard stop. That's just a stone cold fact.
Yes, Holman claimed fewer women have been raped, and he was standing in the Oval Office next to Donald Trump, a man who has bragged about sexually assaulting women, was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and was found by a judge to be an adjudicated rapist. But put all of that aside. Sex trafficking experts say women victims are not brought into this nation by migrant workers or along the U.S. southern border. And as for perpetrators of sex crimes and other violent crimes, all of the data shows that migrant communities have a lower percentage of committing these crimes than people who are citizens of the United States. So, Tom Homan, spare us your lectures. The Trump ICE raids are not about protecting women. They are about manufacturing fear against people with brown and black skin, dividing America, and enabling the psychotic fantasies of Trump and his enablers, including White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. If the Trump administration really cared about public safety, officials like Miller, Kristi Noem, and Tom Homan would do a better job of screening some of the people being hired by the Department of Homeland Security. In Bloomington, Minnesota recently, local law enforcement busted a sex trafficking ring and arrested a man who works for, you guessed it, the Trump administration's Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency.
He works for ICE, and he is an auditor for them, a civilian employee. When he was arrested, he said, "I'm ICE boys." Well, unfortunately for him, we locked him up, we put him in our jail. He got reappropriated to our jail, and my understanding is he helped send people to send federal authorities. I think he's going to see some federal authorities because I think the feds are going to take this case.
The feds are going to take that case. And if only the feds would review the behavior of ICE agents who threw a pregnant woman to the ground. Minneapolis leaders say that ICE arrest has infuriated residents and destabilized a city that was already tense. And a lot of people fear it's only going to be a matter of time before a protester does more than just yell at ICE agents or try to pelt them with snowballs. Tensions are growing, and the chances of violence are going way up. And whether it's an ICE agent that gets hurt or a protester or both, all of this can be traced back to Donald Trump. His administration's trampling of constitutional rights and the widespread denial of due process for citizens and migrants alike, it all stains our nation. And ironically, instead of America becoming better and safer, thanks to Trump and his goons, we are worse off and face more dangers. What a legacy. Did you know that the big wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T made over $18 billion in profit last year? How? By overcharging you for unlimited data, most of which you probably aren't even using. But what if you could get paid to use your phone less and only pay for the data you do use? Well, with Noble Mobile, you can. For just $50 a month on their No Bull plan, you get unlimited data, and whatever data you don't use, you get cash back right in your pocket. People who switch to Noble can save an average of $500 to $1,000 a year. It's a no-brainer. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT and our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. By the way, in the Caribbean, there was recently a near mid-air collision between a JetBlue airliner and a U.S. military aircraft. By all accounts, it was the U.S. military's fault. As the Trump administration sends more aircraft and ships towards Venezuela, we've just gotten a frightening reminder of the dangers to innocent people nearby.
There's new audio in this morning after a crazy near mid-air collision. A JetBlue flight leaving the small Caribbean nation of Curacao en route to New York had to abruptly stop its ascent to avoid colliding with a U.S. Air Force plane. The JetBlue pilot spoke to air traffic control basically as this played out.
We almost had a mid-air collision up here. Traffic passed directly in front of us, within 5 miles of us, maybe 2-3 miles. But it was an air-to-air refueler from the United States Air Force. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous. We had to stop our climb and actually descend to avoid hitting them.
There were 200 people on board that JetBlue airliner. The Pentagon confirms the U.S. military aircraft was a KC-46 refueling tanker. By all accounts, the refueler was not using a GPS transponder that would have identified its presence and location. Thankfully, the evasive actions taken by the pilot for JetBlue avoided a catastrophe. Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.